Despite being in the heart of Midtown Atlanta, the Georgia Tech campus is home to many species of wildlife which must live side by side the dense human population of the campus and city. This is the eastern gray squirrel, also known as Sciurus carolinensis, and this species is known to be very successful in urban environments such as Atlanta and the Georgia Tech campus. In this lab's observation and study of the gray squirrels on and around Georgia Tech, we focused on several key squirrel behaviors. Foraging involves behaviors such as searching for food and sniffing the ground. Alert feeding entails eating while remaining aware and attentive to the surroundings. And finally, vigilance involves alert behavior and surveillance. In my research, I compared the effect of human presence of squirrel behavior using the squirrel observations gathered by lab students over a 6-week period this semester. I hypothesized that the presence of humans near squirrels in an urban setting will influence their behavior, reflected in an increase in vigilance and alert feeding and decrease in foraging, with other behaviors relatively similar between the two groups. To make this comparison between squirrels with and without humans present, I used RStudio to first organize the data by removing confounding variables such as other organisms present, then grouped the data from each week of observations into humans present and no humans present, and then I took random samples of observations from each group for each week. I then used RStudio to generate average behavior counts across the 6 weeks and graph these in a side-by-side bar graph for each of the behaviors so that the two groups could be compared. I also ran a t-test for each behavior type to compare the averages and determine the degree of difference between the two groups for each behavior. Lastly, I used R to graph the t-test statistics in a bell curve to see which behaviors had the greatest difference between the groups. As seen in the bar graph, each behavior on average was observed more frequently in the group of squirrels in which humans were present, though the degree of difference between the human and no humans group varies by behavior. In the figure on the right, the t-test value for each behavior is shown by the blue bar. The further away the blue bar is from the center of the bell curve, and therefore the greater the magnitude of the t-value, then the greater the difference is between the averages of the two groups. As we can see, the greatest difference between no humans and humans present was observed for alert feeding behavior, while there was the least difference between the two groups for vigilant behavior. Overall, these results show that in comparison to squirrels on their own, squirrels in the presence of more people tend to have heightened behaviors. Numerous studies on the eastern gray squirrel have shown that greater human activity and disturbance is positively correlated with increased vigilance and alert behavior. And overall, many studies comparing rural squirrels to urban squirrels that experience more human interaction have shown the same trend. In one 2008 experimental study of gray squirrels, researchers found that the overall level of human activity in the area had a larger impact on squirrel behavior than did direct human disturbance. This brings us into potential future research directions. Since the observations collected in this lab were only over a 6-week period, future research would benefit from more long-term observation so that squirrel behavior can be observed throughout a variety of yearly changes, such as overall human density, which would change between spring and fall semesters and summer semesters, and also observing squirrels throughout the different seasons. This will allow for a much more comprehensive and whole understanding of squirrel behavior and how it changes in response to humans through a variety of different conditions. And it will also enable a greater volume of squirrel data to be collected, making it easier to see trends in behavior and have significant statistics. Though research in this lab was limited to a short period, it is still a very important step in understanding the relationship between humans and animals in an urban environment. Understanding squirrel behavior in relation to human presence shapes our ability to inform the public about environmental and wildlife awareness and consideration, as well as future construction plans to protect the habitat and security of these squirrels so that they can continue playing their role in the overall ecosystem. As noted by Barrett in his 2019 paper, a greater understanding of this relationship enables us to protect natural squirrel behavior and prevent disturbance through public education and urban design.